But it's nice to see you, Jeremy. How's it going?
It's going excellent. How are you?
I am doing very well. A full disclosure thing, I have signed to work at Remax and Kamloops.
Yes.
And so I also have a political seat that I still sit in.
Yeah.
And this week was interesting, so I thought maybe we could talk about something that is going on probably in a few areas around the province. It is one of those legal things where precedent gets set, and then maybe other countries even are looking to see
Yeah,
how we've
absolutely.
handled it.
And I think it's important. I don't know if you have mentioned this in past shows, but your role is directly as a managing broker in the office, correct? So
And
you're
yeah, and the full disclosure is that my license is almost online. Do not rely on my advice or opinion on anything right now.
as they shouldn't on any of this stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but I have completed the online components that are required to have the license fully engaged and then belonging to the office. But in the meantime, I am setting up and getting ready and getting involved in the community and learning as much as I can.
And if anyone's listening that's outside of the city, it's important. Like Kamloops, BC, we had a wild week. So there's a lot that came up in here. So you're taking on a role as a managing broker in a very interesting scenario, which is kind of what we're going to jump into today, correct?
Yeah, if you could expand a little bit more on what your thoughts are around when you say Wild Week.
Well, just the fact that we had that Cowichan decision, which set a precedent. And then after that, there was an Aboriginal title claim on the city of Kamloops. So our sales area went under a new claim for Aboriginal title, which leaves a lot of gray area to what does that actually mean going forward, especially when you're trying to mix in with what happened in Cowichan. And there's not a lot of good information out there right now of exactly what this looks like because it's unprecedented. It's a new thing that we're facing. And you had brought up talking about it right away, which I think is good. But in my mind, we're still in the what does this actually look like and where is this going phase. So
Hmm.
that's where I see it as a really unique week.
I uh, I totally agree. And I feel like if I was feeling this lost, if I find out anything that's helpful, it's where are we looking for information right now?
Right.
And ideally, there would be a provincial government body that is available to answer questions from, if not the whole general public, but at least the municipal leaders of areas. If that was available, that would be an avenue to make sure that we have information coming through those kinds of channels. So
Yeah.
I'm saying get in touch with your municipal politicians.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you've always been looking at this and trying to get as much information as you can. What
Mhm.
are you seeing on your side, or what are you being told?
Well, the other thing is that has a course coming out that's available for all agents who would like to register. It's online. And I
Yeah,
think that's a really great avenue for us to be looking for information.
and that was on the 17th, right? November 17th. I'm going to be on that one for sure.
Coming up on the 17th, and then if I get this online so fast, the 12th was the deadline to get your questions submitted. But even if you don't get a chance to submit your question, you could still log in and see them answer everyone else's question.
I see. That makes sense. So breaking it down. So at this point, we're still in the fact finding, but you had gotten some advice or at least interpretations from a lawyer. What was the initial advice that you were given?
What I'll say is that it was also from more than one lawyer now, um, who has said that if they were representing a buyer and giving advice, they would put a clause in to have uh, legal advice. A buyer is coming forward, they want to have a clause in their contract of purchase and sale that says independent legal advice for the purchase of this property with regards to making sure it has clear title, but maybe even being more specific about it.
Right. Because and as things change, things are going to change. I guess that's the simplest way to put it. So that clause is kind of a running clause because what advice they get this week for subject removals might change in a month and might change in 2 months. So it almost seems like at this point it needs to become a standard clause in all contracts in a sense. Do you, from your understanding, like, are you familiar with the Cowichan decision?
I am not super familiar, but I have got the Coles notes from legal friends. I have enough information, I think, about how title has played out on Haida Gwaii. I think looking at the difference or maybe similarities between the two, I've had those conversations with lawyers.
Yeah.
And I think that anyone who has a relationship with a lawyer in their office should be looking to them for advice.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. One of
Mhm.
the things that I was actually gonna recommend, and I would talk about it off the air with you, but while we're on the air, I do have a contact because for me, it's all about getting the information and the facts. Because I think looking at it from, and I had said this before we jumped on this, we're kind of just where we're at. We're dealing with what we're dealing with. We're in the thick of it. Like you said, reach out to your municipality, get involved, have some conversations. But from me, from a as a strategist, I want to know how am I navigating this for the clients? If I'm on the list side, I'm on
Totally.
the buy side. I mean, that's really what we doesn't matter how we feel about it. It's just what we have to deal with right now is trying to get through and from my understanding, it seems like a big part of right now is just getting through this period while it kind of solidifies to where it's going to land. And that's where I'm focused at the most is what does this look like in the meantime? Because right now
Mhm,
it's like it's there, but we don't know where it's going to land. It's really hard to give advice on. It's really hard to
mhm.
tell how it's actually going to affect the Kamloops market. Where I was going with this is I've got a contact with someone that actually works directly with the band. In fact, when you and I talked about this yesterday, and you had talked about getting in contact and finding out what are they looking for, what's the overall goal, what is a perfect scenario for this to lead into. He works directly with them, and he's got a lot of past history, and he will put on about a 2 to 2.5 hour presentation breaking down the entire back history and where it's at now. So I think it would be really neat if we were to put something like that on. He's open, he's available. For those that are actually open to just listening and getting some information, I don't know what he's going to present. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's just something that's going to give us more depth of information, I guess, is where I'm going at. So I'd love to invite not only the Remax offices, but maybe we can do something at the real estate board and just get him in and just hear what he has to say and what the history is like and just what his perspective is on all of this.
I think that's an excellent idea. I think that having a, open, frank conversation is this, like, and get everyone into the same room, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because I mean, he works directly with negotiations. So he's got a really interesting role actually. So his role is to mediate between the band and the representatives of the band and developers and people that want to do projects. And he's like that connection. So he's in a lot of these meetings. He's got the insight and the information of what kind of conversations are happening, what the history has been around all of Canada, what it's specifically been looking like in BC, and kind of how we got from where we are to where it is now. And again, I don't think it's going to hurt to just have some kind of information and perspective, regardless of what the viewpoint is.
Mhm.
Um, and it's funny because even as I started looking at this, I realized I don't have a proper viewpoint because I don't have enough context on exactly what's been happening. I don't think that I've done enough research. I've jumped into it enough to really say how I feel about it. But at this point, just with so much smoke in the air and having no idea where to land, I want to get as much information as I can to just somehow try to navigate the next 12 to 24 months with sales in the real estate business.
Oh, yeah, or 20 years, right? What does it look like going forward? And
Yeah.
then
It's,
and
it's
then
just,
yeah, from, like, a municipal standpoint too, I honestly don't know, and I'm looking forward to and point me in the right direction to learn more, what kind of tax conversations we're having
yeah.
and infrastructure.
Yeah. So for that topic,
Mhm.
does that cover everything that you kind of wanted to get? I mean, we're so early in, there's not a whole lot to elaborate on, but is there anything you want to add to that?
I feel like just, keep the conversation going forward. I think that I would encourage, let's keep it positive out there. Let's all be learning more. I have seen a little bit of a darker tone sometimes being entered into the conversation, and I think that doesn't really seem like a productive path forward. So let's stay curious about each other through the process, and I think that's where we'll find solutions instead of just more problems.
Well, I think yeah, in this day and age, I mean, we the last thing we need is more division. It never has and never will be. the right way forward, in my opinion, anyway. I don't know. Everything seems so hyper aggressive. I've seen the same thing, some of the social side on it. I would just echo what you're saying. The curiosity is always going to lead to something more productive than the anger and the get the pitches or the
Mhm.
forks. What is it? Pitchforks?
Yeah, that's it. With just the last maybe couple moments that we have left then, one of the things that I would like to say about being someone who is new and entering into the market of Kamloops, you all are friendly, and I'm so excited about all the community that I'm finding and the social events that I've been attending and going to. Chambers, wonderful. Went to my first Blazers game. I look forward to going to so many more. It's so welcoming and wonderful.
Absolutely. And the other thing that's just an interesting to kind of wrap it up a little bit. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
the eternal optimist. I'm always an optimist, but the as we kind of enter into whatever this starts to look like from a real estate sales side, I was going back. I always watch the stats pretty closely, and we're a pretty active market within our own community. So regardless of how everything kind of plays out, I still think sales are going to happen. I think
Mhm.
they're going to have to move forward. If you look at one point, I don't have the latest stats because we lost them when we did our merge, but we were at one point 88% of the sales that were happening in Kamloops were happening from people in Kamloops, buying up, buying down, moving around. In 2021, 2022, it did get to a point where we were almost 50% of the market was coming outside of town into Kamloops, but that's since then has gone back. But we still are an active market within. People need to move, people need to sell. So there will have to be some kind of solutions to allow that to happen. I mean, the whole thing can't just stop. I wouldn't think for like 2 years, regardless, because there's got to be liquidity in the market somewhere. So I'm going to choose to just keep kind of focusing on that, see where the sales are happening, guide as it comes in, because week by week, month by month, we're going to start to see what the stats look like. We're going to start to see what the sales look like. We're going to find out where those sales are happening, what they're happening. So we're in a really interesting discovery phase right now, which again, if you're in real estate and you're moving forward, that's what's going to serve you, because getting to doom and gloom or kind of on the side of nothing's happening, nothing's going to happen. That's one thing I've learned about in 16 years of real estate. The where you focus is what tends to happen. And I've seen realtors in really tough markets have their best years ever. And I've seen realtors in great markets have not so great years. And it always comes to come down to their focus and their perception and just how creative and where they're wanting to focus their efforts. So I think there's a lot going forward. But myself, like all people in real estate sales, it's going to happen. So let's figure out how to keep some sales going and keep giving that right information to our clients so they can keep moving, because people got to move.
My only one last final thought, and it's
One last one, and then I'll have one more.
okay,
This
excellent. I
episode's
love
going to go for like 15 more
that's why we
minutes.
have to put a timer on it.
Yeah.
No, is that one of the biggest real estate things that I have learned from you so far, which there's been a few, but if I were to put one in the top of importance, is learning to how to know your buyer. I think you just gave a lot of people some really good insight to the buyers out there in and around Kamloops. That was, yeah, that's a good
Yeah, they want to
fact to
buy.
know.
People want
Yeah.
to buy, people want to sell. And
Hmm.
absolutely,
Yeah.
the more you know your buyers and know their goals, there's a way to make it happen. It'd be interesting to just find out how.
Yeah. Well, I think that's
You know
good.
what's you know, can I say
Oh,
one more
please.
thing? Yeah,
Yes,
this is my one more thing.
please. Please.
I'm gonna go on it saying I am not pessimistic. Every time I say that, I found it sound like I'm being pessimistic. I'm not. I'm actually optimistic, which is
Mhm.
interesting. I said that to you too. I don't know why. I have a feeling that things are going to shake out how they need to shake out. And I'm talking strictly from a sales side. I don't know why. I think it's going to be a good year. I just I think sales are going to continue on. It might be impacted. It might be a little different. I don't know exactly where it's going to land. But when my focus is getting deals done, unless we go to zero, which I don't believe will happen, there's a way to continue to transact. So focus there.
Mhm.
That's my take on it. But I'm always optimistic. So who knows?
I totally agree. Keep in touch with your mortgage people too.
Vital.
Another good resource.
Vital.
Okay, until next time. Until next time.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye, guys.